Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Coder. I'm Chris, and this video for the week is going to be another Frogger video. I've kind of neglected this series and think we're going to try to finish it up. Maybe. I think a big part of this game is to actually make sure that the game over works. Which right now it's sort of, I don't know, kind of finicky. It's not really a game over. It just kind of resets the amount of lives that you have. And, that's kind of it. But the way that the actual game behaves is much different than that. So if we look at, like, the Frogger on the Atari 2600, yeah, let me turn that volume down a little bit. Okay, so gameplay, we've already got that kind of squared away. We're here, and we press enter, which starts the game. We wait for the sound to finish, and then we can kind of start moving around. Our little bar starts to go away, and this is the Atari version, by the way. This is not the one that we're programming. So if we die, we lose a life. We lose another life. And another one, and then we're down to our last life right now. If we lose that, the game kind of just resets as if we were to have started it from scratch. So it still shows our score as 5 up there, but if we press enter, it resets our score to 0. Replays that intro song and gives us our lives back. So that's kind of where we need to try and be with our game. And the way that our game works right now is if we start playing, wait for the intro sound, we got the same kind of thing here. We got score, the bar, the lives. So the bar starts to go away. And then here we die, we lose a life, lose a life, lose a life, lose a life. We got one more life to lose. And there, we just get kind of reset to our position, our starting position. We got our lives back. I don't know if the time bar actually got reset. Let's look at that. Oh yeah, it gets reset every time that we die. So, game over or not. And our score kind of never, like, resets back to 0 either. So, it's kind of like the game never ends. And our lives are completely meaningless, unlike our actual lives. So what we need to do is let's look at the script and see where we're at here. So when we start the game, if you kind of, I don't know if you remember, but when we started, everything is kind of in this player script, and we've got we're getting our audio source, we're grabbing our original position, which is our starting position. We're then getting the HUD. We're then starting the time band scale, which is basically the scale that it is at when it starts. That's the starting time band scale, obviously. It's what we want to reset to when we die. Then we set level started equals false, level starting to false, game started as false, and game starting as true. And then we play the intro sound. And then we set our sprite to be enabled equals false, and then we set our HUD time band enabled to false. So I'm wondering if we just take all of this part, and we put it in a method called reset. Alright, so let's cut that. And just for the record, I'm starting at level started, and I'm going to select everything down to the time band, and we're going to just cut it. Alright, so, and then I'm going to fix up this here. Alright, so then let's scroll down, because I don't know if we already have this. Reset position. So how about we create a method right here after game over, and we call this reset, or just call it game reset. We'll put in these lines of code here that we took from the start method. Now before we do anything else, let's go to the start method, and right after here we're going to go ahead and call reset game, or game reset. Okay, so then it's basically as if this stuff was still here, right? You're just calling that method. And then we literally could let's go and do this. Let's cut that out and let's add this to game reset. And then from here we'll call game reset, which is kind of redundant. I just didn't want to, I wanted to have a clear like game over method that we call for game over. Because we could call game reset instead of game over, but I think that like to look at the code and to see how it flows, knowing that when we're calling game over, we're telling the game is over, is kind of easier to kind of weed out if you're looking through your code, instead if you're finding like a game reset and you're like, why are we just resetting the game? Isn't the game over? So that's just, I don't know, a preference. You guys can just get rid of this game over method and just call game reset instead. That should work. So let's see here. Data position. We're setting health equal to 4 at the very start here. We're resetting the game. As far as check bypass intro, they're checking if we can bypass the intro. We're resetting those, so that's fine. Level started. The audio source is playing. Alright, let's have a look and see what happens. Alright, well, so far so good. This is working exactly how we wanted it to. There we go. Alright, so let's wait for that, and then we're gonna try to die. Shouldn't be too difficult. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a last life. Okay, resets to the beginning. Alright. So far it works exactly like we wanted to. Except for our score didn't get reset. Okay, so let's do one more thing here. Let's see, HUD. There's got to be a method that we're using to set the score on the HUD, right? Play home base sound, play squash sound, play hop sound, reset position, game reset, game over, reset timer, decrease health, player died, safe. Okay, so maybe we have a update HUD method somewhere. Game timer, HUD.timeband.color. Alright. Score. Update player score. So we'll want to do this when the player presses enter to start the game. So update player score. We're going to put that in. Let's see here. Get the key down. Check collisions. Check bypass intro. Okay, so this would be the best place to do it. So we do HUD.update player score. Oops, and we're gonna just set that score to 0 because we're restarting. So this should give us sort of the same kind of gameplay that we get with Frogger on the Atari, where the score stays until we press enter to actually start the game. So we're starting out with 0. Okay, so now we're gonna wait for the intro to finish. And then we do this, and 20, and 70, and 80, and we're dead again. So now our score is 90, but now when we press enter, let's wait for this song to finish too. So when we press enter, it should reset the score to 0. And it did not. That was because we only had it in the bypass. Okay. Update position, maybe? Down arrow, left arrow, right arrow. Game starting equals true. Play level start sound. Time band. Okay, let's just see if it actually resets it if we just kind of... Oh, doesn't reset it. That's really interesting. Well, why not, though? We're not doing anything to the HUD when we do our little game reset, right? No. No. Everything is kind of what it is. Okay, so let's look at our... Update player score. Current score equals parse score to text. Oh, so we're adding to the score. Alright, so let's do this. Public void reset player score. Oops, what the hell? And here we'll just do and current, you know what? Score text dot text equals 0. Alright, so that'll reset the player score. So now we just have to go here, and instead of calling update player score, we will call reset player score, because the update player score method adds to the score whatever we pass in as a parameter. So we passed in 0, so the score stayed the same instead of, you know, being reset to 0. So now if we play this game, we should be fine. Alright, one last life. If we press enter, alright, score is 0. Alright, so I also want to make sure that this is going to work if we wait for the song to finish, which it should. I've seen stranger things happen. Alright, so the song is finished. We press enter. Scores are reset. Okay. So now we have a proper game over. So, you know, where would you take this game, like, now? Where would we go with it? Well, you could finish it here and say, hey, this game has one level, and your mission is to get your frogs all the way to their home base. which we don't have like a win scenario yet either. So maybe that could be the next video. I know. I was hoping this might be the last, but it's not. It's because I forgot how many things we actually still haven't done yet. We don't have the splat image either when we get hit or fall into the water. And that short sort of delay that you get between a death and like a respawn. There's like a second or two there that, you know, you have to wait before you can go again. Ours is kind of just immediate. So that's a thing. Getting to the home base, we can get to all the home base, but the game right now doesn't have the logic to know if, you know, we have all of the home base filled. So, you know, that could be very easily added. You would literally just need to add like a variable that would count every time your frog made it to a home bay, and if that variable equals 5, then you know that you've made all your frogs go to the home bay. You just have to be careful to only count up when you actually get to a home bay that's not already occupied by a frog. And I think there is a variable somewhere that we keep track of whether or not there's already a frog in one of the home bays. So you could use that to kind of check and make sure that you're not already occupied when you count, you know, when you increment that variable. So that's one thing you could do. And then once you get to 5, you could literally just like just do like a kind of like a game over reset, but also maybe add something to the HUD that says you've won, or, you know, whatever, you've won, press any key to continue. And then, you know, you could reset the game, start over. You could try to implement a level 2. A level 2 would basically just make things, you know, move a little faster. Like, you know, we have all these cars and game objects. Wow. Let's see here. So yeah, if you click on one of these, we've got move speed, right? Move speed is 2 for this one, move speed is 5 for that one, move speed is 5. So what you would do then is you would basically, there's 2 ways you could go about this. You could dynamically change the speed of these and basically just add like a percentage or multiply by a specific percentage and add that back to the speed, maybe based on the level number. So if it's 1 and you multiply that times whatever percentage you use and you add that back, then you're fine. If you have level 2, then that is going to increase because level 2 is a higher number, and then 3, 4, 5, and so on. That's one way to do it. Or if you were to do it another way, you could statically assign these and say, let's say that our game has 5 levels max. Then you could, inside of the what is it here, the car class, for instance, we have this here. So we have this collidable object, the collidable object class, which basically tells us what it is, like, right? And then we have the car class, which is specific to just the cars. And in the car class, you could maybe go in and say, hey, you could say level, right? You could add a level to this. And then you could have a move speed for each level. So you could have move speed level 1, move speed level 2, move speed level 3, move speed level 4, and then based on that, or you could just have level, like a level variable, and based on what that level variable equals, you could then just do an if statement and say if level is 1, then move speed is 5. If level is 2, then move speed is blah, 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 blah. But then if you do that, you'd have to create a separate car, and you'd have to actually add in the static variables for each car, type of car, because some cars move faster than others, right? So it would be probably best then if you did public variables, so that you can manipulate those in the inspector. So you could do like public level 1 move speed, level 2 move speed, level 3 move speed, level 4 move speed, level 5 move speed. and then you would basically in the start method, the move speed gets used in the update method. So you would want to check whenever the game is reset. So you'd have to have a reset, or a kind of like a game update method saying, hey, players advanced to level 2. So you would have it like a... Actually, you would not start... The reset doesn't affect the game objects. So you'd have to kind of think about that. But, alright, so enough rambling on here. But that kind of gives you guys some ideas as to where to like take this game. So what I would do is kind of not worry about a level 2. If you want to just finish it, you can leave it kind of as is because it is a proof of concept, it works. Or you could go in and I did see when we were looking at Unity, and like when we clicked on one of these and look at the collidable object, there is an is occupied boolean. So if we look in here, is occupied equals false. So we probably in the player class have somewhere, probably in check collisions, is safe equals true if is log, if is turtle, if is home bay. If not collidable object that is occupied. So if there's nothing there, then we set the trophy. So we reset position no matter what. We don't reset the timer because we didn't really get anywhere that we were supposed to be going. So we set then as occupied to true. So right in here, you literally could keep track. You know what? Let's just add that in really quick. It's not going to take long. So we're going to create a private int num frogs and bays equals 0. So we have to remember that we, in the game reset, we need to change that, right? Because we don't want to, right? So here, num frogs and bays equals 0. I wonder if we're actually like removing the frogs from the bays in the game over. That's something else to check. Either way, we need to num frogs and bays plus. So we're incrementing the number of frogs in the bays. So let me jump back to Unity really quick. I gotta get a frog to the home bay, and I want to see if that frog is removed at the game over, because I don't think it is. I don't think we actually ever got to that point. Alright. So now I'll kill myself a few times. And that's what I thought. Alright. So what we need to do is trophies. We need to remove all the trophies. All right, so I think the easiest way to go about this is we have the trophy. Actually, what do we have for tags? Trophy. All right, so I'm creating a tag called trophy, and then we're going to assign that tag to the trophy. Okay. And then we're going to create a method remove trophies, and in that method we're going to get find object game object, no. So I could have sworn this was called find game objects. So maybe we have to actually use the game object class. Find game objects with tag. So alright, so what we need to do is we need to actually create an array. I'll just make this private. Whoops. Private. Actually, we can't do that. We'll just do it this way. Game object, trophies. Good lord. Trophies. Alright, so then we say trophies equals game object, find game object tag trophy. Oops. There. Okay, so that'll fill that array with all of the game objects that are on the scene that have the tag trophy. So really all we need to do now is we just need to iterate over those with a for each loop. And we're just going to do this. Game object trophy in trophies. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're looking in the trophies array, and for every iteration we're assigning whatever index we're at to this trophy game object. And at that point we'll just do destroy trophy game object. So that should remove all the trophies. So when we do our game reset, I'm going to call remove trophies. That should work. Alright, let's kill ourselves. Okay, trophy was removed. It still shows us what our score was. And then we press enter, and our score is back to 0. Perfect. Perfect. So everything gets reset. So now what we need to do is we just need to create a win kind of HUD. And I think what we'll do is we'll utilize that same HUD canvas. And we will add a method here. Public void show win. Show win. And that means we'll have to add a public text win text. And we'll then just do this win text dot set enabled equals true, and then at the beginning here we'll say win text enabled false, and then we'll also need a hide public void hide win. Oops. Win text dot enabled equals false. Right. Okay. So then we'll go and every time we get another trophy, because we don't need to check this every frame. We just need to check it every time we get a trophy, right? We say here, if num frogs and bays is equal to 5, then we win the game. We need to, oops. We need to use the HUD dot show win, and at that point, we need. This is getting more complicated than I thought. We need to add a boolean. About game 1 equals false, and private void check play again. If game 1, right, if that's true, if input get key down, key code, whoops, key code dot enter, return, then we want to play again, so we just call reset game reset. And we set game 1 to false. And then here, game 1 equals true. And then the rest of everything that's happening in the game should stop. Or not. But we do want to at least like disallow movement, and we need to also hide the frog. You know what? Let's do a void game 1, and then in that we'll do this. We'll cut that out, put it into here. I'm going to call game 1. Oops. Game 1. And from here, let's see, we're showing the windscreen. We're setting game 1 to true. We want to hide the frog. Where do we hide? Yeah, that's fine. So this dot. So we'll disable the script. Get component sprite renderer dot enabled. Alright, so here we're disabling the sprite renderer so that the frog will disappear. And we need to also in here update position. We'll just say if not game 1, then we're allowed to do any position updates. So I'm just going to copy all of this stuff and put that inside of this not game 1. Started. Not game 1, then we want to continue playing as normal. Otherwise, we don't want to allow any movements. Alright, and the frog disappears. Alright, so let's try and win this game. It's actually, first we need to actually design our win text. So let's go into the HUD and do that. So let's add UI text. We'll call this when text. And let's make that big. Let's do like 600 by, or even bigger. Let's do 700 or, whoops, 1000 by 600. That should give us plenty of space. We'll set the alignment to center and center for both vertical and horizontal. And then we'll make the font bigger. And let's make the font white. UN. And actually, let's make this height like 400, maybe even 300. And then we will add another. I'll call this when text sub. We'll also have to then make a variable for that. And this one we will move down to here. The same thing, 1000 for the width. We'll do like 100 for the height. What is happening? Oops. It's supposed to be 1000. And we're going to make the font bigger. I'm going to center it. And let's change the color because I can't make that out. Okay. And then this will just be press return to restart. Alright, so back in the Canvas HUD script, we're going to add a public text when text sub, and here we'll set when text sub dot enabled equals true, and when text sub dot enabled equals false, and then we'll call this, and we'll just call the hide when. Right. And let's get rid of this update method, we don't need it. Save that. So the last thing we have to do is we have to go in here and we have to set these two text objects that we just created as the properties for those variables. So we're going to drag when text over to when text, and when text sub over the when text sub. And now if we play it, we shouldn't see these. Right. Alright. So now let's see if we can win the game. It's one down. Two. Oh shit. Oh man, come on. Let's get that in the last bay here, and then we have one more. If we don't die, alright, let's get it. You win! Nice, and the frog isn't there, and we're good to go, so we can press return to restart. And that doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? What's supposed to happen here? Oh, well, we're not calling this method. Okay, so we have to actually make sure we call the check play again method. All right. So, and while we're here, I don't know if I'm actually hiding the game or the win, so let's do that. HUD dot hide win. Whoops. All right, so let's do it again. And that's why we make games, so we can play them, right? And one more. Alright, ready, set, go. You win. Press return to restart. Alright, let's make sure the frog shows up again. And this frog does show up again. And our score is 0, and everything is perfect. So, there you have it. Now it's a complete game with 1 level. And all you can do is get a high score. So, that's it. Sorry for the long video and all the drawn out kind of rambling thoughts that I had going on in my brain as I was doing this. But like I said before, you can, do some other things to enhance this or to, kind of expand on it, give it more levels, whatever you want to do. Either way, the way it is now, you can call it done if you want a 1-level game. It'll be the easiest game ever, but it's cool. So, there you go. If you enjoyed the tutorial, make sure to give me a thumbs up, leave comments down below. Thanks to all my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the support. It's much appreciated. If you haven't subscribed yet, do me a favor and subscribe, and you'll get notified of all new awesome videos for tutorials. There are the bell for notifications. Anything else I'm missing? I don't think I am. But I'll see you guys next time. Actually, I may put up another Minesweeper video today as well. I don't know yet, but we will see. All right, till next time.